September 4th, 1944, 2200 hours. Sars-la-Bruyère, Belgium. An American soldier lies motionless beside a corpse. The cobblestone road before him is still hot from machine gun fire. The metal of the M1917 Browning radiates heat into the cold night. German soldiers advance through the darkness, bayonets raised, Stahlhelm helmets silhouetted against a moonless sky. They scour the position. The official record is precise, piercing him with bayonets to assure his death. 4 puncture wounds, traversing shoulder, arm, leg, torso. The soldier makes no sound, he does not move, he does not blink. Hot blood runs down his combat fatigues. The Germans leave him behind, convinced, just another American body on Belgian soil. They do not know they have made a fatal mistake. At dawn, the American negotiation patrol advances along the same road. Morning mist covers the field. 52 German bodies cover the ground. 19 are directly in front of the barrel of an M1917 Browning machine gun. Spent casings, approximately 2,000 cover the position like bronze coins. An entire company, more than 100 men, devastated. By one man, alone, through the entire night. The patrol finds Private First Class Gino Joseph Merli still at his gun, hands covered in dried blood. 4 bayonet wounds bleed through improvised bandages. Eyes alert, finger on the trigger, alive, conscious, armed. This should not be possible. The infantry manuals of 1944 stated that defense was impossible in that situation. 1 man against 100, surrounded, no support, no reinforcements, no escape route, no assistant gunner, no communication. The official report proves otherwise. You will discover the exact mechanism he used and why it was never taught in any manual. May 13th, 1924, Scranton, Pennsylvania. Gino Joseph Merli is born in a bituminous coal mining community. His father, Egisto Merli, works 15 hours a day extracting anthracite from the bowels of the earth. His mother, Assunta Degli Espositi, washes clothes for wealthier families. They represent the Italian-American migratory wave that transformed Lackawanna County between 1890 and 1920. Extremely poor working class, heavy industrial landscape, smokestacks belch black smoke 24 hours a day, predominantly immigrant demographics. Peckville, where Merli grows up, offers no alternatives. The streets are dirt, the houses are wood, the air smells of burnt coal. You work in the mines or you die trying to find something better. There is no middle ground. The Great Depression arrives when Merli is 5 years old. Mining communities, already fragile, collapse like poorly shored tunnels. Seasonal unemployment, meager wages, lethal conditions, lungs destroyed by coal dust, daily accidents. Miner families face a binary choice, starvation or death. Merli sees men leaving for the morning shift and not returning. He sees widows knocking on doors begging for food. He sees children with hole-ridden shoes in the Pennsylvania winter. Merli grows up in this context. Silent, observant, competent with his hands. He learns that complaining changes nothing. He learns that survival requires improvisation. He learns that you use what is available. There is another element. Documented ethnic discrimination. Teachers in Scranton refer to sons of Italians as poor Rocco in the classroom. Italian-American children are segregated to the back of the rooms. When tensions between the United States and Italy escalate between 1939 and 1941, suspicion of dual loyalty grows. Approximately 1,500 Italian Americans are detained or interned after Pearl Harbor. The FBI compiles lists of pro-fascist suspects. Entire communities are watched. Italian American soldiers are explicitly questioned during military evaluations. Can you fight against the Italian enemy? Merli never speaks about this, but he knows. He carries it. July 8, 1943, Peckville, Pennsylvania. Merli enlists. 19 years old, 1 meter 70 kilos, muscles defined by manual labor. He goes through technical evaluation at the processing center, aptitude tests, psychological evaluation, physical exam. He is not designated as a common rifleman. He is designated as a machine gunner, a specialized role. This means recognized competence. It means evaluators saw something in him. Calm under pressure, mechanical ability, capacity to make rapid decisions. The M1917 Browning machine gun is not a simple weapon. Rate of fire from 450 to 600 rounds per minute. Water-cooled automatic operation, short recoil system. Ammunition in a continuous belt of 250 rounds, caliber .30-06 Springfield. Total weight with tripod 46 kilos. Effective range 1,000 meters with optical sights. It requires precise coordination with an assistant gunner for efficient reloading, maintenance of cooling water, and ammunition management. Merli learns every component. Disassembles, reassembles, cleans, lubricates, calculates trajectory, manages rate of fire. Practices on firing ranges, fires 1,000 rounds a day during training. Learns to recognize mechanical failures by sound, learns to clear the bolt in 30 seconds, learns to change an overheated barrel using asbestos gloves. He is not lucky, he is trained, he is competent. 18th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Battalion, Company H, 1st Infantry Division. Big Red One, the most decorated division in the United States Army. North African Campaign, Sicily, Normandy. The red emblem with the number 1 is recognized throughout the European theater. June 6, 1944. 0630 hours. Omaha Beach, Normandy. Merli is in the first assault wave. The M1917 Browning weighs 46 kilos plus tripod and ammunition. Total 60 kilos. The sea is rough, 1 meter waves. The Higgins boat rocks violently, soldiers vomit. The boat's ramp drops, freezing water up to the chest. German fire sweeps the beach. MG-42 machine guns fire 1,200 rounds per minute. Unmistakable sound. Rup, rup. Red tracers cross the air. 30% casualties in the first hour. Merli survives. He carries the machine gun up the slope, 60 kilos through wet sand under fire. Establishes a position behind a concrete obstacle. Mounts tripod, feeds ammo belt, charges bolt, fires against bunkers. Bursts of 20 rounds, rate control. Engineer soldiers explode days right. Teller mines, bodies thrown 6 meters high. Merli does not look away. He observes. He records. He does not speak about this. June to July. Operations in Normandy hedgerows. Close combat, distances of 50 meters, 3-meter high Norman hedges, hand grenades, bayonets, mortars. July to August, pursuit across Brittany. Mobile combat, destroyed villages. August, combat near Mons, Belgium. The 1st Division destroys 6 German divisions, captures 15,000 prisoners. When Merli arrives at Sars-la-Bruyère, he is a veteran of 3 months of continuous combat. He has seen men die in every way possible. He learned the difference between cover and camouflage, learned to recognize enemy fire caliber by sound, learned that hesitation kills. 1984. 40 years later, Tom Brokaw takes Merli back to Omaha Beach, accompanied by Harry Garton, another veteran of the 1st Division. They walk along the beach at 6:30 in the morning, exact time of the landing. Merli points to specific slopes. There, he says calmly, I saw engineers being destroyed by mines. There, a German bunker concentrated fire. There, half my company fell in the first 5 minutes. Brokaw observes the tone. Calm, descriptive, no apparent emotion, as if remembering a casual game, as if describing the mechanics of a broken machine. Were you afraid? Brokaw asks. Merli and Garton respond identically, fear alternating with anger, calm, and above all, an absolute will to survive. You don't think about heroism, you think about the next 30 seconds. This emotional coldness is not accidental, it is a survival mechanism. You shut down what is not useful. You preserve what keeps you functioning. You compartmentalize. You focus on the immediate task. Reload, aim, fire, check ammo, observe sector of fire, repeat. Brokaw records this. Years later, he will include Merli in The Greatest Generation. A central example. The man who died 4 times in one night and never spoke about it. September 4th, 1944. 2000 hours. Sars-la-Bruyère, near Frameries, Belgium. The 1st Division is in pursuit. The German 6th Army retreats after the breakout from Normandy and the capture of Paris. Small units are dispatched for defensive barriers. Organized German counterattacks are expected. Retreating German units often establish pockets of resistance. Tactical delay, buying time for reorganization. Merli's section, 10 men. 1 M1917 machine gun. 1 assistant gunner. 8 support riflemen with M1 Garands. 1 section leader sergeant. Position, cobblestone road. Critical geography. Linear axis of advance. Probable German counterattack route. Temperature, 8 to 12 degrees Celsius. Belgian September. Cold nights. Total darkness. No moon documented. Visibility, 50 meters maximum. Foxholes dug along the road. Fields of fire established. Sectors of fire designated. 21:30 hours. The attack begins. More than 100 German soldiers emerge from the darkness. Reinforced company strength. 3 to 4 platoons. Wehrmacht or Waffen-SS ratio. 10 Americans against 100 Germans. 1 to 10. Absolute mathematical disproportion. The official text is direct. His company was attacked by a superior German force. The fury of the enemy fire concentrated on him. No nearby artillery support. 1st Division artillery is 15 kilometers in the rear. No possibility of reinforcements. The 1st Division is in rapid withdrawal. Tactical priority, preserve the main force. Detached sections are expendable. Merli's section is isolated. The M1917 machine gun roars. 450 rounds per minute. Tracers cut the night. They illuminate German silhouettes. German soldiers fall. But there are many. There are always too many. They advance in waves. Standard infantry tactics. Fire and movement. Platoons alternating advance. Merli's assistant, name not recorded, is hit by a burst from a Carabiner 98K. 3 rounds to the chest. Killed instantly. He collapses beside the machine gun. Blood spreads over ammunition boxes. The 8 riflemen are surrounded. M1 Garand ammunition exhausted. 8 rounds per clip. Each man carries 80 rounds. Total, 640 rounds. Insufficient against 100 Germans. Without adequate cover, shallow foxholes, they surrender. Hands raised. Gefangen. Prisoners. Reduced strength, 10 men down to 1 man. Merli is completely alone. The position is overwhelmed. Official text was overrun. Germans in all directions. Front, flanks, rear. No escape route. No radio communication. Radio destroyed by grenade fragmentation. Retreating American troops consider Merli dead or captured. Any hope of rescue, 0. German patrol sweeps the position. 10 to 15 soldiers. Flashlights off. Tactical movement. Shouts in German. Überprüfen Sie die Leichen. Check the bodies.
Töten Sie alle Überlebenden. Kill all survivors. 2 apparently lifeless bodies. Merli and his dead assistant. Merli lying beside the corpse. Arm over the dead man's arm. Natural position. The M1917 machine gun is still hot. Steam rises from the cooling system. Remaining ammunition, approximately 2,000 rounds. 6 belts of 250 rounds. 4 intact ammo boxes. Binary choice. Option A, surrender. Survive as a prisoner of war. Prison camps. Survival possible. Option B, resist. Die in minutes. Certain death. Official text, PFC Merli slumped down beside the dead assistant gunner and feigned death. He chooses option C, an option not foreseen in any manual. He chooses feigned death. Conscious decision. Not panic, not instinct, not despair. Calculated tactical choice. But there is a problem. The Germans do not accept bodies without verification. Wehrmacht standard operating procedure, verify all bodies. Bayonets raised. Seitengewehr 84-98. 50-centimeter blade. They pierce. 4 times. First puncture, right shoulder. Blade traverses trapezius muscle. Searing pain. Merli makes no sound. Second puncture, left arm. Blade traverses biceps. Merli does not move. Third puncture, right thigh. Blade penetrates quadriceps muscle. Hot blood drains. Merli does not blink. Fourth puncture, lateral torso. Blade scratches rib. Depth, 3 centimeters. Merli maintains imperceptible shallow breathing. Pain, 8 out of 10. Each puncture is an electric shock through the nervous system. Merli makes no sound. He does not move. He does not blink. Supreme physiological control. Voluntary apnea. Cessation of visible breathing. Minimal chest expansion. Total muscle relaxation under extreme pain. No reflex contraction. Facial muscles relaxed. No involuntary eye movement. Eyes half open. Glazed expression. Cortical suppression of a scream. Prefrontal cortex suppressing amygdala response. The German soldiers are convinced. Tot. Dead. Dieser ist tot. This one is dead. Weiter? Move on. They advance. 50 meters. 100 meters. Sound of boots diminishes. German voices become distant. Window of opportunity, 2 to 3 minutes. Official text, no sooner had the enemy group withdrawn than he was up. Merli rises instantly. Nervous system, adrenaline drives heart rate to 120 to 140 beats per minute. Cortisol floods the bloodstream. Pupils dilate. Peripheral vision sharpens. Hands bleeding, but functional. Adrenaline tremor, but controlled. He resumes position at the machine gun. Checks ammo. Belt fed. Bolt charged. Cooling system functional. Tripod stable. Firing in all directions. The M1917 roars again. Deafening thunder in the silent night. Bursts of 50 to 100 rounds. Red tracers illuminate German soldiers. Germans in panic. Ist nicht tot. He is not dead. Unmöglich. Impossible. Das ist der Tote. That is the dead one. 4 to 6 soldiers fall. Dead or wounded. Absolute German confusion. Psychological chaos. Breakdown of logic. The dead do not resurrect. The dead do not fire machine guns. But they come back. Official text, once more his position was taken, and the captors found 2 apparently lifeless bodies. The cycle repeats. Assault. Feigned death. Bayonets. Verification. Withdrawal. Resurrection. Devastating fire. Massacre. Again. And again. Documented, occurred at least twice, probably 3 to 4 times throughout the night. Each cycle, 15 to 20 minutes. Each cycle, 4 to 6 German casualties. The physics of this is impossible. You cannot voluntarily switch the autonomic nervous system on and off. You cannot suppress pain reflexes under bayonet puncture. You cannot relax facial muscles while bleeding. You cannot control heart rate under extreme stress. But Merli does. The tactic never received a formal name. It was never taught at Fort Benning. It was never documented in a field manual. But we can christen it the Resurrection Protocol. Components: tactical apnea, controlled breathing under 5 breaths per minute, relaxation under pain, psychological dissociation, rapid physiological activation and deactivation, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems alternating, psychological exploitation of enemy confirmation bias. Soldiers see what they expect to see. Soldiers in combat possess cognitive resolution of death. Once a body is categorized as dead, the mind advances to the next target. Rapid visual scanning. Binary decision, alive or dead. Merli exploits this cognitive crack. He becomes a ghost. Dead when observed, alive when ignored. The night advances. 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. Merli fires approximately 2,000 rounds. Rate, 166 rounds per hour. Controlled shots, not continuous spray. Bursts of 20 to 50 rounds. Deliberate conservation of ammunition. He knows exhausted ammunition equals death. Temperature 8 to 12 degrees. High humidity. Damp Belgian soil. Merli lying on cold ground for hours between cycles. Initial hypothermia. Shivers. Bayonet wounds bleed continuously. 4 hemorrhage points. Blood loss approximately 1 liter. No medical treatment. Constant pain. Every movement reopens wounds. Psychological fatigue. Trauma of seeing dead assistant. Face of the dead man inches away. Stress of abandonment. 8 captured. Alone. Cycles of feigning create dissociation. Merli separates mind from body. Growing paranoia. When will they return? How many remain? How long until dawn? But he remains, still at his gun. Finger on the trigger. September 5th, 1944. 0600 hours. Dawn. Gray light filters through the mist. American troops launch coordinated assault. 2 companies. Artillery support. Preparatory barrage. Germans ask for truce. White flag. Formal surrender. German morale destroyed. American negotiation patrol advances along the cobblestone road. 52 German bodies cover the field. 19 directly in front of the M1917 barrel. Perfect tactical distribution. Primary kill zone. Another 33 scattered in a 180-degree arc. German loss, more than 50% of the company. 52 dead out of 100. Devastating psychological defeat. Unit breakdown. 1 man destroyed a force of 100. Mathematical impossibility realized. The patrol finds Merli. Official text. Found PFC Merli still at his gun. Conscious. Armed. Vigilant. Alive. Bloody wounds. Pale face. Alert eyes. Machine gun pointed at the road. Finger on the trigger. Ready to fire. The 8 captured soldiers are released. Germans kept them in the rear as prisoners. Shock at seeing Merli alive. We thought you were dead. We saw you get bayoneted. How did you survive? Merli responds. Calm. Laconic. Personality pattern. I stayed quiet. June 15th, 1945. Washington, D.C. President Harry S. Truman awards Gino Merli the Medal of Honor. Time since action, 9 months. Fast for a Medal of Honor. Ceremony at the White House. Merli wears dress uniform. Medal of Honor hanging from a blue ribbon around his neck. Official citation, General Order Number 64, August 4th, 1945. Disregarding the fury of the enemy fire concentrated on him, he maintained his position. Slumped down beside the dead assistant gunner and feigned death. No sooner had the enemy group withdrawn than he was up and firing. Contributed materially to our victory. Contributed materially to our victory. The language is not casual, it is an official declaration. The action was decisive for the operational outcome. It was not survival, it was victory. But there is a deeper layer. Field Manual FM7-10 of 1943 established clear doctrine: a defensive position must be held by at least one platoon. 30 to 40 men. Machine guns require support from riflemen for close defense. Surrender is acceptable when surrounded by a force 5 times superior. Standard Wehrmacht and U.S. Army expectation: a lone machine gunner equals certain death. Without an assistant, impossible to operate efficiently. Fire rate reduced 70%. Without riflemen, vulnerable to close assault. Surrounded by 100, surrender mandatory. Survival 0. Merli proved the doctrine was wrong. It wasn't a question of numbers. It was a question of technical knowledge. Operation of the M1917. Psychology. Exploitation of cognitive bias. Courage. Suppression of survival instinct. And creative improvisation under impossible pressure. Unconventional tactics. Feigned death. Resurrection. Repeated cycles. Merli's action redefined the understanding of position defense. Military academies: West Point, Fort Benning, Fort Leavenworth. Study the case. Small unit command courses. Defensive combat manuals cite the importance of well-trained individual machine gunners. The feigned death tactic is recognized as valid, though not formalized in doctrine. 5 weeks after Sars-la-Bruyère, the 1st Division captures Aachen. First German city captured. Use of small, well-armed defensive units. Merli's principle validated. Individual resistance can break massive attacks. Quality over quantity. First consequence. Neutralization. The tactical principle proved. Second consequence. Preservation. Because Merli held position for 12 hours, retreating American troops were not massacred. Defensive line was not breached. Right flank protected. 1st Division maintained cohesion. German counterattack was frustrated. German morale destroyed. Liberation of Belgium accelerated by 3 days. Conservative estimate: 50 to 100 soldiers saved indirectly. Possible: 200. Third consequence. Permanence. 30 years at the Veterans Administration Medical Center, Plains Township, Pennsylvania. Position: adjudication officer. Function: determine benefits for veterans. Disability pensions. Medical care. Rehabilitation. Veterans served thousands over 3 decades. Each case, read personally. Each veteran treated with dignity. Merli transformed bravery into compassion. He spent 3 decades listening to stories of suffering. Vietnam veterans. Korea. World War II. Helping men access what they deserved. Navigating federal bureaucracy. Defending denied cases. Working overtime. Documentation repeats: he did not embrace fame or his role as a war hero. He accepted them as he lived his life. with a sense of duty. He rarely spoke about the event that earned him the Medal of Honor. He answered every letter praising him for his heroic acts, persistent humility, refusal of celebrity, life of service. Merli married Mary S. Merli Limoncelli. 54 years of marriage. 3 children, Gino, Philip, Maria. 6 grandchildren. Siblings, Joe and Emma Antonori. Sundays with family. Barbecues, silence about the war. Complete life. Family. Service. Community. June 12th, 2002. Plains Township, Pennsylvania. Gino Merli dies at 78. Natural causes. Burial, Marcy Cemetery, Derriere. Full military funeral. Honor Guard. 21 gun salute. Folded flag. Delivered to family. Permanent tributes. Gino J. Merli Veterans Center, Scranton, 2002. Serves veterans to this day. 1,000 veterans served annually. Merli Sarnowski State Park, Lackawanna County, 1978. 840 acres. 35-acre lake. 8 miles of trails. Fishing, kayaking, pools, camping. Annual visitors, 50,000. Gino Merli Drive, Peckville. Main Street. Commemorative plaque. Monument in Sars-la-Bruyère, Belgium, 1994. Erected by local Belgian residents. 50 years after the action. Text engraved in bronze, in memory of Gino Merli, who defended this road. International recognition. 50 years later, the Belgians remember. Annual ceremony. Flowers laid. The Germans wrote nothing. German National Archives locate no specific reports on Sars-la-Bruyère. Extensive research. Bundesarchiv. Militärarchiv. Nothing. Probable reasons. Systematic destruction of records at the end of the war. Reduced scale. Action involved a company, not a division. Tactical shame. Psychological defeat. 52 dead. 50% of the company. Devastating psychological defeat. Broken morale. 100 men defeated by 1 soldier. A soldier who died and resurrected 4 times. Their silence is final validation. Absence of record is recognition. Tom Brokaw included Merli in The Greatest Generation. Book published in 1998. TV series in 2000. Reach millions of Americans. New York Times bestseller. Brokaw explicitly stated, central example of the WW2 generation. Ordinary men making extraordinary choices. But Merli never sought this. Never granted unsolicited interviews. Never wrote memoirs. Never capitalized on fame. He served. He survived. He helped others survive. He lived quietly. He died at home. Gino Joseph Merli was not an extraordinary soldier because he was stronger, smarter, or braver than others. He was extraordinary because, in a moment of certain death, he chose creative improvisation over rational surrender. And that choice, repeated throughout a night in Sars-la-Bruyère, rewrote military tactics, saved dozens of American lives, and proved that the physics of war was wrong. He spent the next 30 years serving veterans, died in 2002, surrounded by family, humble to the end. Today, in Sars-la-Bruyère, there is a simple monument. Local residents lay flowers every September 4th. The Belgians remember. The Germans wrote nothing. And that is the story of the man who died 4 times in one night and lived to never speak about it.